Are you there? Come on, do something. Ah, there you are, you little rascal. You are a black cat, the only one out of your entire litter. At birth, you are completely and utterly helpless. You're blind and deaf, and your only instinct is to mewl for your mother. At this stage, your fur has barely grown in, and the color is still rather faded. You are completely dependent on your mother for food and protection. You'll stay in this state for a little over a week, so you have little choice but to just sit there and drink up some good old milk. But don't worry, 10 days will pass in the blink of an eye. See, you're bigger already. You can now see and hear what's going on around you. It's the Middle Ages, and historically, it wasn't exactly the best time for you. Cats are generally well-liked. As far back as human history goes, cats have always been long-time companions. Egyptians, for example, domesticated cats to protect their store grains from rats. Neolithic hunters were known to have been accompanied by cats. The cats themselves were thought to have simply followed them because there were rodents to hunt. Or, well, maybe the cats were just bored. As always, the degree to which cats were pets varies from place to place. Now back to you. However, you're a black cat, perceived by many to be harbingers of bad luck and a witch's best friend. While some places during this time considered black cats to be good luck, the town you're in isn't one of them. Don't worry, it won't be that bad. Probably. Unlike today, cats weren't universally adored. It was rare to have a pet cat, and many cats during this time were wild or feral. A few more weeks pass, and as you reach about 6 or 7 weeks of age, your mother starts to wean you off milk and brings you solid food. There's something you should know about yourself. As a cat, you are a naturally opportunistic eater and a scavenger. You will eat pretty much anything and everything, from birds to small mice and even insects. This makes you a menace to both the local wildlife and buffet operators. To teach you the concept of this cool thing called hunting, your mother shows you a half-alive, half-chewed mouse. Well, that doesn't look very appetizing. Nevertheless, you learn that to eat, you must hunt. To hone your hunting and stalking skills, you play with your siblings. The natural play fighting you do improves your instincts. All that pouncing, stalking, and hiding will pay off in the long run. But what makes you such a good hunter in the first place? First of all, you have sharp claws, sharper fangs, and ears that are sensitive to the slightest sound, and a tail for balance. Your whiskers serve as your radar, helping you pick up small vibrations in the air. They're especially helpful when you're hunting in dark conditions. Although, well, your black coat pretty much helps in that regard too. Your eyes have something called tapetum lucidum, a third eyelid that can reflect light a second time into the retinas. This effectively gives you night vision as well. But perhaps most important of all is your sense of smell. Over 200 million nerve receptors help you detect prey and figure out if that piece of meat on the ground is poisoned. Yeah, that thing is definitely poisoned. Hey, you see a small mouse. Easy prey for someone like you. You see another cat eyeing it. Oh, no, you don't. You were here first. You arch your back and make your hairs stand on their ends, making you appear larger than you really are. The other cat tries to do the same, but you call his bluff. Defeated, the other cat leaves, allowing you to hunt with impunity. You do exactly as your mother taught you. You lean back, stalk your prey, and pounce. You'll probably workshop how to hunt another day. You've gotten the hang of being a cat, so now it's time to do what cats do best. No, not that. It's time to explore your surroundings. You already know you live in some medieval town. You just don't know where. While wandering around, you can tell that the townspeople are wary of you, and it's not just because of the mess you made. Or, well, maybe it is that, but there's something else. In certain parts of Europe, black cats were, at best, thought to be harbingers of bad luck, and nothing more. The extent of how badly cats were treated, and black cats like you in particular, is up for some debate. Let me save you a 3-hour trip down that rabbit hole, or cat hole. The long and the short of it is that there's a popular theory regarding Pope Gregory IX's papal bull, the Vox in Rama. This document was based on the findings of an inquisitor, Conrad, who reportedly found a heretical cult that did things with cats that, well, let's just say they did things that would put rainforest to shame. Cats were thus heavily associated with devilry and witches. and it is claimed that there was a large-scale, hatred-fueled witch hunt specifically for cats. However, there is simply no archaeological evidence to support this. A well full of cat bones was discovered in Cambridge, England, but the manner in which they were dissected and the conditions of the skeletal remains suggests that they were eaten and skinned for their fur. While there may not have been massive cat hunts, it's reasonable to believe that cats, especially black cats, were still looked upon with general distrust. Just not to the degree one might believe. If anything, people were a lot more angry at witches and sorcery than they were at you. Many view you as a nuisance, as very few families kept cats as pets in the Middle Ages. Oh, you couldn't help yourself, eh? You opportunist, you. Well, now it's time to run. With the fish still in your mouth, you make a clean getaway. As a cat, you are a digitigrade. That's a fancy way of saying you can walk silently on your tippy toes. The way you run is called the 4-beat gait, which means that your individual paws hit the ground at different intervals. Your musculature and shoulder joints also give you great agility. You make it back to where your mother is. You're excited to tell her all about how well your hunt went. Oh, that's strange. Where are they? They're probably just out hunting too. Oh, well, that can't be good. It is what it is. Time to look elsewhere. You want to get away from these people as fast as possible. As you exit the gates, you see an old lady being kicked and beaten by 3 thugs who accuse her of being a witch. A guard comes by and tells the men off, but he also shuns the old lady. He distrusts her, but not enough to join in. You feel kind of sorry for her. You follow her back to where she lives and discover that she lives alone in a small cabin in the middle of the woods. She spots you. You instinctively turn around for your safety, but she beckons you to come closer as she lowers a bowl of milk. Ah, milk. You haven't had that in a while. You look at the old lady again, and by the lack of a knife in her hand, it doesn't seem like she wants to eat you either. You decide to accept her kindness. You need a place to live, after all. It's been a few years since you joined Margaret. She's a kind old lady and treats you well. She feeds you, keeps you safe, and keeps you warm. You return the favor by making sure her house stays pest-free. She likes to spend her mornings sweeping the front of her house, all under your strict supervision, of course. You find her fashion sense a little dull, but you don't see how this could end badly. In short, life is good. You could live out the rest of your life like this. You still occasionally visit the town to scavenge and steal food. Wouldn't want to get rusty now. There's another reason. This town is your town. As one of the oldest surviving cats here, you've pretty much marked nearly the entire area in your scent. You do this by rubbing against objects and, well, relieving yourself on them. As a cat, you are highly territorial. No one walks through your streets without your express permission. Yeah, that guy has your permission. That aside, you've noticed that the townspeople have gotten more anxious lately. A lot of people seem to be dying and sick on the road. There's also a lot of rats and other cats that have an uncontrollable flea situation. Well, that probably doesn't concern you. Time to head home. Margaret isn't looking too good. She suddenly became ill a few days ago, and you don't know why. There are black spots all over her body, which you've tried to meow away, but it didn't work. Well, it's not like that ever worked before. You do the last thing you can, which is to curl up next to her and to try to comfort her. Actually, you don't feel too hot yourself. You should probably just close your eyes. Maybe a nap will do the trick. It always does. Oh, there's a light out. It's probably daytime already. Whatever, it's the weekend anyway. You can afford to sleep in. Your town isn't going anywhere.